the Eagles traded in front of Dallas so they could take a guy named Dallas in Dallas, whose parents named him Dallas because they like Dallas. Brennan Albert is here. I'm Adrian Fedke. I don't know if you can tell. We're talking about Dallas Goedert today. You see, you did the eyes at the perfect time.
It was hard for me not to, Adrian. That was one of those awesome tongue twisters that I encourage people to try to say it 3 times fast and see how far they get. Adrian, you tried it only once, so kudos to you, man. You were like, hey, I'm gonna rep this one once pre-show, and you were good to go, man. Great job.
Yeah, it just came to me. It just came out, and there we go. We got it right the first time. And, that if you guys don't know, Brendan always does his, little eye blinking thing. All right, do it when you talk so people can see what you do.
I do this to Adrian whenever he starts going.
Yeah.
And it always makes him laugh. It just throws him off. It's awesome.
So the fact that I can do these leads while he's doing the eye blink, I'm I'm very proud of myself. All right, so let's get into Dallas Goedert here. Basically, they got a first-round pick in the second, and they got some value because they traded back from the first round. They got a future second from the Ravens. I love this pick.
I think I'm imagining this, and I know it didn't happen, but this is what I'm imagining. In the back room, you have Jason Kelce talking with David Akers, and Jason Kelce is saying, man, I had the greatest troll job ever. I had the greatest speech. And David Akers calmly stands up, buttons, his little jacket, hands Kelce his beer and says, hold my beer. I got you, and I'm going to top you right now. And he destroyed it, which was awesome. I mean, the whole setup for what Akers did was unbelievable, man.
Yeah, that was awesome. And I don't know if you've seen the meme of so Justin Peele, tight ends coach of the Eagles, he went to go to Dallas Goedert's pro day, and he had this look on his face, like when there's a picture of him, just like the way he's looking at him. It's like one of those, I want your girlfriend to look at me the way that Justin Peele looks at Dallas Goedert type of thing.
It's awesome. And, I would say this. When we talk about the trade, I think it was a home run trade for both teams. Honestly, I think this was a very, very fair trade. From the Ravens side, which I know no one here really cares about, it makes a ton of sense to get Lamar Jackson at 32, get him on the 5th-year option for a first-round player. Boom. And you only really traded a second-round pick for the Ravens. Makes sense. Eagle standpoint, you got a guy that you were going to take at 32, and you got paid to take him. Now, I want to do this little exercise, guys, with everyone. And, Adrian, you're going to kind of play along here for me, buddy. So let's do this, guys, okay? Between 32 and the 17th pick in the second round, here were some players. Sorry, had a little sneeze coming in there.
That's okay.
Here's some players that would have been potential fits. And, Adrian, I want you to tell me if you would have taken Dallas Goedert or this player. Would you have taken Will Hernandez or Dallas Goedert in a future second-round pick? Which player would you rather have?
I'd rather have Dallas Goedert.
Okay. Would you rather Ronald Jones or Dallas Goedert in a second-round pick?
Give me Goedert.
Okay.
By the way, I mean, how can you not want Dallas Goedert when Justin Peele looks at him like this?
That's glorious. That is glorious right there, man. Absolutely glorious. And I mean, and I'm saying this, guys, because these are players that were taken before Goedert. Cortland Sutton. I would have taken Dallas Goedert in a second instead of Sutton. I would have taken Dallas Goedert in a second before Josh Jackson. I would have taken Dallas Goedert in a second before Christian Kirk. So the guys that were taken before Dallas Goedert was taken, personally for me, if you put that offer on the table, I would still take Dallas Goedert in a second over anyone taken. So, look, this is a home run pick for the Eagles. Yes, it's a luxury pick because you already have a starting tight end. But you know what? With what, that offense does, doing a lot of 2 tight end set, that's pretty much like another team's slot receiver. So, nothing but a home run pick here for the Eagles.
Yeah, and shout out to my man Gail Saunders for posting this. This is just fantastic.
Glorious.
As you can see. Yeah, so there you go. All right, so now we're going to get into the film since we already just glorified Goedert the way that we did. All right, here we go. Here is the film. And the first thing we're going to see, I threw this in there at the end. I basically just wanted to quickly illustrate how easy it is for him to catch passes with one hand. And he's already a threat as it is on these fade routes because of the way that he can jump and the way that he can control his body. But look at this. This is just unreal.
Yeah, this reminds you of guys like Chris Carter, Randy Moss. I mean, the ability there to go up there and pluck it with one hand and literally catch a football with just your fingertips because the ball never even comes into his hand. He literally is able to reach it and yank it away. That's just silly, man.
Yeah, and he does this regularly. This isn't like just a one-time occurrence. He does this all the time.
Yeah, great hands here for Goedert. This is definitely one of his better abilities. He's an awesome hands catcher, and as you can see there, sometimes he only needs one of them.
Yeah, it just sticks to his hands like glue. All right, so now we're going to look at some ball tracking examples, and this is another thing that he does pretty well.
Look at Adrian, when's the last time we ever watched Jack Rabbit's film? Let's put it that way. But awesome job here, as you can see him tracking the ball over the shoulder. Great in the seam. That's really where he's going to make his killing in the league. Honestly, I think the comparisons of him and Zach Ertz are pretty fair. And then you're going to see another awesome job here of tracking this ball over the shoulder. It's just awesome to watch him be able to stem late into the second one. This is an easy one, but look at this one, the second one here.
Yeah, sorry.
Great job here of making sure that he's keeping his body stacked in front of the defensive back because he's not going to be running away from people. But you know what? Most tight ends are. And then this one, awesome job here at the last second, now going to get the ball to make sure that defensive back and safety have no chance at making a play on it.
Yeah, and I like you brought up that, like the stacking part because he did a perfect job there on this first play. And he's got those great hands that it just sticks to him. So great catch along the seam. He's a seam threat. And then here we go again. So there you go, Dallas Goedert. Oh, that's so sick.
That is sweet, man. That's that Willie Mays-esque kind of stuff that everyone talks about, tracking the ball over the shoulder.
Yeah, it really is. So this is incredibly difficult because the quarterback didn't even put this ball in a good spot. He had to go get that.
Very difficult, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you made the Zach Ertz comparison. And I think when it comes to catching a football, he reminds me more of Travis Kelce. And the reason why I say Travis Kelce is his yak ability and how hard it is for opposing defenses to bring him down. You can see right here a little stutter move and then the spin. And we're going to see 3 examples of him just bullying defenders.
Yeah, Adrian, if you're going to make the comparison to Kelce because of yak ability, I would 100% agree with you. Now, the one thing we have to acknowledge here with all this film, guys, this isn't the SEC. This is the FCS, okay? So, obviously, it's not elite-level competition, but still, you can't blame a guy for dominating. What his job is, supposed to dominate, and he does. Yak ability here is awesome, Adrian. I agree with you 100%. This is something that he brings to the table that Ertz doesn't really do nearly as good of a job as Dallas does.
Yeah. So, with Kelce, though, I only said pass-catching part because he's definitely not there as a blocker yet, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. But even this play, man, he catches the ball at the 20, and he's dragging defenders for 10 yards.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's got the improvisational ability and some of the cutting ability to make people miss, and then also the power to slip through tackles because, you can't just, arm tackle Dallas Goedert.
No, you can't. And, the other thing, too, is he's did a nice job of being elusive with it, too. He's not just a power guy. He's also elusive.
Yep. So there you go. All right, next thing. So this is a catch he makes along the right seam. Pretty good body control here to make this catch.
Big time. The ability to plant your foot and then flip out with your body weight going outside. And this is against, I would say, the best team in college football on the FCS level. Mm-hmm. So this is a tight window he's doing. Great job of tracking the ball. It's not exactly a clear window for him to see the ball through. So awesome job here of getting his eyes back towards the football and being able to get his body underneath it.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to get into his blocking now, and we'll get the good out of the way. So I feel like he can set an edge in the run game at times, as you see right here. But it's other things that he kind of struggles with. But let's take a look at this play here. Pretty good job setting this edge.
Yeah, this is a good job here. And the big thing for him in this clip is look at his feet. Feet are pumping and turning. Feet are active all the way through contact. This is not something that's consistent with him. Feet is something that's very easily fixed. So his knock is not something that's oh my gosh, this is never fixed. Does a great job of keeping his feet active, but some of his clips he doesn't do that. Yeah,
and we'll get into that temporarily, and we'll kind of give thoughts at the end because I definitely think there's a lot more upside to his blocking than Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz just doesn't seem like he wants to get physical with guys at times, whereas Goedert, I think he does. There's just some things that he needs to refine with his technique.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I don't think there's a question of will and desire for him to block. I think it's just more of technique.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to look at a couple examples where the defensive end is kind of able to bully him a little bit, where he's able to disengage from his block and make a tackle. So you're going to get into this and explain what he's doing wrong.
Yeah, so as we're going to get back into this next clip here, guys, as it restarts, doesn't really do a good job of getting his feet moving, right? Or this clip here, I mean, his feet are pretty much dead on impact, right? And now he's able to get ragdolled right out of the way. He gets so freaking tall. His first two steps, he gets straight up in the air, his feet aren't moving, and now he gets ragdolled and thrown right out of the way. Versus the first clip we watched on North Dakota State, his feet are active. It's going to be the exact same thing here. Now he's in a two-point stance, so he's losing leverage just based off of his alignment, which is fine. That's the coach's decision. But as you see here, guys, feet are active, but look how tall he is. You get that tall, you're easy to throw off. And it comes to the trenches, low eyes win. And if you're standing straight up in the air and you're looking down at the defender, you're asking to get your block shedded.
Yeah, and when you're not down in that two-point stance, you lose that leverage and you lose that ability to hold that anchor.
Yeah, and that's tough. You know, the two-point stance when you have your hands on your knees, the three-point stance when you have your hand in the dirt, you lose the leverage. And it's just like a boxer. When you think about throwing the uppercut comes from depth and it brings all of the power. So as you can see here, he's standing straight up, doesn't have the depth and the power. So now in turn, what's going to happen is he never drops. He runs straight, and opposed to him dropping his weight in his hips and giving a good uppercut of double hands and power. He doesn't have that here. That's something that's very fixable in the long run, but this is a bit of a knock in his game. I don't think he's an elite level blocker the way some people have made it out to be.
Yeah, that's the thing about the scouting reports is you see differing things. Some people think he can block, some people think he can't. And I guess that's a discussion we can get into just a little bit right now. I feel like people think that he can block because they're seeing it here. It's FCS level competition. But when you actually watch the technique, there's definitely things he needs to improve on.
100% right, Adrian. And you and me talked about this pre-show. When we watch film, guys, whether it's your high school film, college film, NFL film, the question never should be, did this player make the play? It shouldn't be that. The question should be, will this technique that the player is using here allow him to make the play moving forward? And honestly, sometimes when I look at Goedert's blocks, even the ones where he does win the block, technique isn't perfect, which in turn makes me say he might not be able to make this block on the next level.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to look at another example where he gets too tall. I mean, you talked about that already. And in this clip, not only is he too tall, his feet are too far back as well.
Yeah, a little bit of an overextension here on the next clip we're going to see, guys. You're going to see no bend in his knees, Z's in the knees. Again, that's where all the power is coming from. This clip here is going to be standing straight up, no bend in the knees. Feet are too far behind him. And now what happens? He's not really making a great block. He's more of in a lunge position. And you know what? Yeah, he's bodying this guy. But you know what? This is Western Illinois. This is not Alabama. This is not the New York Giants. He's making this block all upper body strength. So in the FCS, yeah, you make the block. But in the Power 5 conference and in the NFL, he's going to get pushed right aside here.
If this was Western Illinois, obviously, but this is a play where he should be pushing his guy back like 15 yards instead of like the 5 that he's doing.
Yeah, and again, this is him making the ability just because he's a bigger, stronger guy. And you know what? Sometimes that happens, right? Sometimes you win like that. But when you go to the NFL, you're not the bigger, stronger guy, especially when you get matched up with outside backers and defensive ends and linebackers. You have to use proper technique. And because of how tall he is in this clip, this is a concern for me I have in him. It's just improving his technique. It's not he can't do it. It's just something he's got to work on.
And I feel like when he has to go and make a block on a linebacker like this, where he's got to move forward, his balance is inconsistent at best. He always appears to be lunging.
Yeah, I think that's a fair thing, Adrian, and I think that's mostly because he's not doing a great job of consistently bringing his feet through. Did a great job in that North Dakota State clip we saw, but a lot of the other times his feet aren't necessarily completely underneath him in a true powerful, balanced position. A lot of times he's in a little more of a lunge position than you would like.
All right, next thing we're going to see. This is another clip here where he gets beat. This time he gets beat inside. I believe this is a jet sweep, if I remember correctly.
I think you're right, too. I think we're going to get a motion, yeah. So what you're going to see here is he's going to get his face cut across right there. And again, his feet aren't moving, right? His first thing he does is he lunges. This does two things, guys. One, it sets himself up for getting blocked, which is the worst blocked missed, which is the worst case scenario. The other thing it does, it sets him up for holding. If your feet aren't underneath you, naturally what you're going to do is you're going to start to grab and pull. It's very easy to get called for a holding. And if your feet aren't in front of the player, all you're doing is giving the referee a better window to see the hold. If you slide your feet, think about basketball. In a play like this, really what you're asking Goedert to do is slide inside, block, and make sure that the defensive player does not get inside. Because if he gets inside, that gives the defensive player a sharp angle to the ball. You want to make him run around. So if you look here, his feet pretty much dead on impact. Now he starts to move them late. It's not all in one motion. It's not hands and feet at the same time. It's hands, extra second, feet movement. It's got to be more in the same unison motion.
All right, next thing we're going to see, this is a trap block where he comes across the formation. And again, this is kind of another example where he has to move in space. He has to locate a target on the second level, and he just always seems to lunge. He loses his balance, and he misses this block.
Misses the block, feet aren't in a powerful position, doesn't really time it up well. But again, here's the thing I'll say about him. He wants the block. I don't think Ertz wants the physicality. Dallas does want the physicality. He's just not developed yet, which is fine. That's the player that's easier to teach.
Yep. Yeah, and he's a mammoth dude. So it's like one of those things where I feel like the Eagles coaching staff will take him under his wing, and he'll learn how to block. I mean, they obviously think that they can teach him how to block because they don't have a blocking tight end on their roster right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And this guy's more of a Trey Burton type, but he can develop into a blocker down the line.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, so this is the trap block here, and we're going to see it again. I mean, we're basically just going to see the same clip on the next thing, just kind of a reiteration of what we've been talking about. So again, it's just a poor job of keeping his balance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can see him. He's so tall. He's, hand fighting. It's not a great spot. But again, we're saying all the same things here. His issues are fixable. His issues are coachable. It's not a desire. It's just a technique thing.
Yeah. All right. So the last thing we're going to look at now, as great as his hands are and as shorthanded as he is, he does have his fair share of drops. I mean, these are like concentration lapses. Now, this is an instance, though, where he kind of gets rerouted a little bit, and you're going to get into that. But that is something like that I did notice. He does drop a lot of balls.
This reroute is a bigger issue to me, to be honest with you, than blocking. I mean, personally, for me, the blocking thing, we can fix that. I mean, I'm okay with that. But the reroute here, you're playing Illinois State, and you're going to be an NFL first-round pick in all likelihood at this point. You cannot let a little linebacker get that 3 yards of reroute on you. As you kind of see here, he kind of avoids the contact at the top of his route, tries to round around him or run around him, you'll see here, guys. And all that does is that expands the window for that safety to be able to come down and play the bracket coverage under him, which in turn gives him that footsteps feeling of, I know there's a safety up there. I'm a little, shit, I dropped the ball. So to me, if you're a first-round pick and you're playing in the FCS and this guy tries to reroute you, you got to dip your shoulder and go right into him, or you got to cut inside his face. You cannot run around him. You try to run around him, all you're doing is giving more time for that safety to come down over the middle. So the reroute here is a bigger deal to me than any of the blocking stuff. It's not something that's consistent on his film, but the fact that it happens even a handful of times in the FCS level is a little concerning for me.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to look at it just one time in full speed, and then we'll get back to our beautiful faces. So just one more time, you can see here, and then drops the football. All right, so we're done. That's it. That's it on Dallas Goedert. We already talked about it a little bit, but we'll talk about it again. I'll ask you the question. How good of a blocker is he going to be in the NFL level? Can he be taught?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind that he'll absolutely be able to do that. The nice thing about this, I think he brings you a lot of the similar skill set Zach Ertz does, but has the willingness to block, which I still question if Zach Ertz really wants to block. So I think his ceiling is definitely higher than Ertz. I'm not ready to say it's Kelsey because, I mean, Kelsey, in my opinion, is the best tight end of the game. Yeah, I think he's better than Gronk just because of availability. But I don't think he's a true Travis Kelsey even comparison. But I would have said of the 3 tight ends, I would have said he's probably my favorite of the 3. And I say that because Gesicki, all he can do is catch. Now, he does a great job at it, but all he can do is catch. He can't block. Hayden Hurst is 25 years old, which is a little bit of a concern for me. And then you have Goedert, who, he played in the FCS, but I would take that guy over the other 3. So the Eagles took a first-round pick in the mid-second round, got an extra second-round pick to do it, and didn't really lose out on anyone that I would have taken. I think it's a home run pick here for the Eagles.
Yeah, the only guy on my board that I had ahead of Goddard was Isaiah Oliver, and that was it. And, I'm not going to hate that they didn't take Isaiah Oliver. I mean, you got Dallas Goedert. So there you go.
Yeah, fine fit. I think it's a great pick for the Eagles. Again, you got paid to take a first-round talent. Boom, done. A grade. Doesn't matter anything else that happened.
Yep. And just to get on Travis Kelsey, it's disrespectful in a way to compare Goddard to him because of the blocking, because Travis Kelsey is already one of the top blocking tight ends in the game. That's why I said Travis Kelsey, the pass catcher.
I love it. I'm with you.
There you go. And just one more thing. The duo of Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert. How close is it to Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez?
Oh, man. It's not that close, only because Gronk was the best tight end in the game at that point in time. But I would probably say it's already the best tight end situation in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Yeah, it's going to be dangerous for teams in the red zone trying to defend these two guys. The way that they, you got Zach Ertz along the seam. You have Dallas Goedert who can go in the back corners of the end zone and catch these fade routes one-handed if you really want to. So these guys are going to create mismatch problems. And then you got Alshon Jeffrey, too, in the red zone. Eagles, man, just red zone threats all day long.
Yep, give those big body receivers for Carson.
There it is. All right, that's our Dallas Goedert film. That's Brendan Albert. I'm Adrian Feck. You want to do the blinky thing again?
That's it. I'm good.
No blinky?
No blinky thing. I'll save it for next one. Appreciate it, guys.
All right. Save it for Avante Maddox. We're out of here.